The NPP's Kennedy Japan, MP for Asin North, who has raised the alarm, claims a whopping 30 million Ghana cedis was transferred to the ruling NDC amongst other beneficiaries. Well, Newsfile is brought to you in association with TTB, that's a member of the EcoBank Group, with Unique Insurance, and also with MTN. And you can surf the web at your convenience for only 2 cedis 50 pesos. You can browse the internet for an hour and get another hour free. Explore your world of endless possibilities at an MTN Wi-Fi hotspot at a location near you. Now, you can connect with your laptop or Wi-Fi device by simply using MTN Recharge Card, even if you don't have an MTN number. Connect today by simply logging on with your MTN Recharge Card or Busy Internet voucher or your MTN number and e-self-care password at the following locations: Ring Road Central, Busy Internet Cafe, the Accra Mall, Kotoka International Airport, Kolebu International Hostel, Kolebu Main Hostel, Ghana Hostel, Roman Ridge, Cybergate Pub, Shangri-La, Coffee Lounge at East Legon and in Tema Community 6, and soon coming to a location near you. For assistance, dial MTN short code 1687 toll-free. So go on, enjoy Ghana's fastest internet service only on MTN. Life is always richer with MTN. MTN, everywhere you go. So let's start with you, Mr. Japan. This week you alleged that there were other beneficiaries besides the Chief State Attorney's wife on Woyome's bank account. You allege that the NDC received 30 million Ghana cedis for the construction of their headquarters. And who else received what?
GBC.
GBC received how much? 5 million?
5 million.
For what?
God knows what. We don't know. But what I know is that immediately the money hit the account, only 18,000 Ghana cedis went to GBC. And hey, now.
And who else was another beneficiary?
A lot of them. So I've dared the Yoko to come out clean if they really want to be fair to Ghanaians and fair to that state attorney. I think they are not being fair to the state attorney because that same account that they found the 400,000 transferred into the state attorney's wife's account. That same account transferred 2.5 million to Castle account. That same account has transferred 5 million to GBC. And NDC is arguing that is not true. But we have a complaint in Parliament today, our committee, Communications Committee, and Chumesi Apia made it known to me yesterday on Adom FM program that as I speak, they have a complaint how those monies were transferred into GBC's account. Okay? That we're going to discuss as a committee. Then they paid 30 million to different contractors building their headquarters. And you see, people are challenging me, and I'm also challenging the Yoko. I have a witness there when I did cross-examination. Now look, I don't want to embarrass you, but this is it. And the person outright just, it's true. Well,
cross-examination why?
Ma'am, let me hold it first. You see, I dare them that Woyome has done this. They said no, it's not true. Today, I've come out again. I want the government to challenge this. Let the Yoko come out with all the, and you cannot tell me. Because this same Yoko, I have a problem with them now because when they were investigating my wife, they took different accounts. And madam, when they called me, they had lined it. Every account, they did now, it was transferred. Why are you not doing the same thing? And you only use the state attorney as an scapegoat. They are not being fair to the man. I'm not saying they should release him, but if they don't publish those transfers, they should release the man. Because they are not being fair. They are sacrificing politicians, civil servants, and letting politicians go scot-free, which is not fair because we are all Ghanaians.
But these allegations you make are very serious. Do you have any concrete proof?
I have the proof.
Let's see it.
I have the proof. I will not give you my proof here now. Hey. Because, yes, why I'm not going to give you, as I speak, the guy is shaking. He's shaking.
Which
and
guy?
I have, hold on, I have confirmed. No, you know, I'm in media, so I understand. You know, you got to push me, but I will not do that for the sake of these guys. But I have done my investigation. I did a cross-examination, showed the document to the person.
Cross-examination, was it in court or what?
In Parliament.
Okay.
In Parliament. Okay. What I said, listen, I don't want to embarrass you. Madam, the comment that came out of the person's mouth, say, okay, case closed.
Okay, give us something to work with, though, because this is a very serious allegation. You've made it already. Beyond it, I think people want to see or hear something concrete that says, I'm very, very certain about this. Because otherwise, anybody can just throw an allegation.
So I have also thrown them a challenge that Yoko, if they really want to do a good service, if they have the nation at heart, the monies that we are losing, they should come out with the true findings, what they saw.
Okay, I need to explore a little further. You said monies were paid to the castle, 2.5.
Yeah.
Is there an account called castle, or is there an individual?
They have Office of the President account, they have Chief of Staff, they have several accounts over there.
Which of the accounts was that money paid to?
I am daring the Yoko first.
No, without even giving me the evidence, the castle is really rather vague.
Yeah.
So give us Chief of Staff,
saying that,
presidency, where? And
I'm saying that, you know, for the sake of the person who gave this information, I've been advised not to release the name. And as I speak, the person is shaking. I have promised I will not do that. But at least I talk with authority because, and I'm not going to mention the person's name too. I confronted him, and I have a witness there. When I confronted the person...
Who is this person? Where does the person work?
If I'm not going to disclose this first source, I will not be fair to the second one.
Okay, where does this person work? Is it in Yoko? Is it in Parliament? Is it in Public Accounts Committee?
You know,
you have something to work with.
You know, Mom, I would not lie, and I know it's a serious allegation. So if I come and give information like this, and I'm not sure of myself, I won't do it. But I still want to protect these two people. Okay,
give our listeners and our viewers just
and the person who confirmed it is an NDC. It's an NDC. I confronted him. I have a witness there, an MPP man who was there, and I said, listen, I don't want to embarrass you. This is the information I have. And right there he said, yes. No, if I said that, you know who said it. It's not good. I don't want to disclose that.
Okay, one more question I'll ask you. And then if you say that you're daring Yoko to come out and disclose all the other beneficiaries named on that account, if Yoko does not, what will you do?
I will come up with the names.
Okay, and how much time have you given Yoko?
Well, we are here, you know, because I raised the first one. They were making hula baloo about it. That is not true. Today,
you see, we could see in the Auditor General's report. Where? But this one, there's no trail, paper trail, nothing, except what you said.
There are
for
trails. Now. They should go to Unibank and check. You see, the monies were first transferred. They are just pushing me. The monies were first transferred to a Greek bank. Huh? And later on, you see, it went to Unibank. And monies were transferred into these various accounts. But I'm saying that I'm waiting for the government to come out, the Yoko, to tell us. Now I understand why Safumanfu decided not to go. Because he doesn't believe the report that will come out. And clearly, these omissions from the transfers from Woyome's account and only nailing the state attorney clearly states that, or clearly indicates that Yoko has not done their job. And they are not being fair to certain people in this country. You cannot, what has happened today, you can't sacrifice civil servants and leave politicians. Okay? Maybe the way you started, that is why I'm not able to give you a lot of information on how all these monies were transferred, how...
Ignore the way I started. You proceed the way you want to, so we can have information to work
with. Because I wanted to tell you that, you know, this is my first time coming on air here.
That's true.
And I wanted to tell you that, look, first of all, Woyome didn't have a contract with government of Ghana. And even the suit that he took to court, he lied. I want Ghanaians to know today that Ghana bid for a Can 2008 in 2004. That's when we won the award. Madam, the letter he took to the judge, okay, for these claims, he said he has worked on this stadium project from 2001 to 2006. Where was that minister, Betty Modidrusu? Where was he? Now, you see, when any businessman who goes for a loan for a country or for his project, with this quantum of 1,106,470,587, madam, he's not the only smartest person in this country. He's not the only businessman in this country. When this quantum of money is given to you, they put it in an escrow account. We want Woyome to tell us which escrow account they deposited 1 billion euros that he's asking for 2%.
Okay.
And I want to read this letter to you. 12 April 2010. Settlement of claims involving the rehabilitation of Ohinijan, Babayara, and Elwak Sports Stadium. I refer to your letter dated 31st March 2010 on the above-mentioned subject matter, authorizing the ministry to make payment of 2% of amount claimed 1 billion. Attached to your letter is a claim by Austro Invest Management, dated 16 February 2010. This agreement states that Austro Invest is prepared to accept 1% of the total value of the project as compensation. 3, the agreement further requests that this amount should be divided between Austro Invest and Alfred Woyome. 4, in addition to this document, we have also a copy of a petition by Woyome. This petition makes a claim for 2% instead of 1% of the total value of the project, 1% to Austro Invest and 1% to Alfred Woyome. 5, the most serious indictment on the Attorney General. Our Accounts Office has raised a query on the supporting documentation of the claim. For audit purposes, they require clarity and evidence on whether the claim is being made by the consortium that won the bid to conduct the financial engineering led by Woyome jointly or separately. 6, kindly advise on the implication of this agreement and also provide us with any further documentation that substantiates Woyome's claim.
And this is a letter from
Minister of Finance to the Attorney General. Ma'am, this is the response from Attorney General to the Finance Minister. I don't know if we have time for me to read all this.
Unfortunately, we don't have time.
Yeah,
just
it is terrible. The woman who is supposed to defend the nation, one arm is saying 1%, the other arm is saying 2%. And the Minister of Finance has questioned you.
Wants clarity.
Yeah, want clarity, give us advice. Instead of defending the nation and saying 1%, she endorses 2%.
Okay.
And 2, all in her correspondence, she was mentioning Austro Invest Woyome. Austro Invest Woyome. Let me read one portion which indicts the woman. He said, it is my opinion that this letter dated 5th August 2005 formed the basis of binding agreement between VAMED and the government of Ghana, and the process having been terminated wrongfully by the government of Ghana. The claimants were entitled to compensation for services rendered.
Okay.
I want to read here. Procurement Board letter, paragraph 4. This is 26 October 2005. The woman was also referring to 2005, August 5th. And this is 26. Again, the self-explanatory letter from VAMED regarding their inability to execute the Stadia contract in view of the fact that the construction of hospital portion of the original tender will not come on, have been well noted.
Okay, so your point in all of this is
so
what?
My point in all of this is where government has not dealt with any company called Austro Invest.
Okay.
2, the VAMED that she made mention that it has a binding contract, it was terminated, and they accepted an agreement of termination.
Okay, I think we've read that on this.
And we didn't, I mean, they didn't have anything to do with government of Ghana.
Okay.
So why would you advise the minister to go and pay huge sums of money? And you see, they are trying to cover. Let me go to Auditor General's report, page 48. Okay, line 23. 41,811,480 cedis, 59 pesos was paid in June 4th, 2010. Now, Auditor General,
what the Auditor General came out to say it
Madam,
did not pay.
That is fallacy of argumentum ad hominem.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's fallacy.
Okay.
Fallacy. If he admits that he made a mistake, he has to resign today.
Okay, but this is something that the Public Accounts Committee is also going to interrogate as part of its public meetings.
I am advising, and I've told them that they should call the consultants.
Okay.
The certificates they have raised, Woyome raised, is almost 1.3 trillion. Okay. What are they talking about?
Okay. I want James to address, I want us to deal, first of all, with his claims that...
I wanted to give you the sub consolidated account.
Consolidated, if I'm
the sub-consolidated account that they paid Woyome and Waterville. This Waterville issue is even worse than Woyome, but we are talking of Woyome. Let us address Waterville. Okay. The account number is here.
Okay.
012360058. I'll give you other account numbers that they transfer the money to.
Let's hear the... Okay, but if he says this, you won't even know which bank that's in, so...
I mean...
I want you to first address this, the very latest, which is the fact that payments have been made to the NDC and the Castle and GBC on behalf of the
some of
party.
the key issues. So I'll deal with this latest twist of this issue from Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, Member of Parliament.
Who incidentally started this whole Woyome matter.
Yes. But I mean, if you listen to him carefully, it appears that he didn't do this because he wanted to do it or he wanted to be very, very helpful to the Republic. But it's just because, if you listen to him carefully, it's because he says Mr. Alfred Woyome had gone on radio, insulted him, called him names, so he decides to go on. Even though it's a very important issue, if you listen to Honorable Kennedy Ejapong carefully, he appears to be on a personal vendetta. But I mean, that is neither here nor there. I have followed and I have listened to Honorable Kennedy Ejapong go on this, for want of a better word, is it media prosecution or public prosecution? I disagree. I disagree with a lot of the issues he's been speaking about and how he's gone about it. But I also admire the courage, the tenacity with which he has prosecuted this case. I think that if it adds up to, our governance in terms of openness, transparency, accountability, I'm all for it. So I disagree with some of the issues he's raising, but again, I admire the energy he has put into this. I mean, to hear him move from one radio station to the other, one television. I'm not sure he's done TV yet, but I admire that part of it. Let me say that, I mean, given what he calls the new twist and the account numbers and the details he says he has, it's pretty difficult, you know. It puts one in a very difficult situation to speak to. Can
the NDC, for instance, as a party and a government, say authoritatively that no monies had been paid to contractors on his behalf?
It's a very difficult situation to competently speak to this issue, because here is our MP. He says he has documents. He holds on to it. He doesn't want anybody to see. And it then is difficult to speak to it because, I mean, this is a man that everybody knows that he speaks his mind, a very courageous person, a person who minces no words at all. So at this point, and I think that, look, if you open the phone line or you were to be getting text messages, everybody will tell you that Honorable Kennedy Ejapong is not a fearless person. So if at this point he says he has a document, he won't let you see, because we will not see that document, it is also difficult to competently speak to it. Then you begin to wonder whether indeed there is or there is no document. That is difficult for me That really is difficult for me.
Only
because
if
I
you show
cannot
us
in
the
this
documents.
position competently speak to this document that he has. But quite apart from that, let's look at it. How much in all has been paid to Mr. Alfred Woyome? 51 million
It is not correct.
Ghana cedis. Out
It
of
is not
this,
correct.
we are told by Honorable Kennedy Japan that 30 million Ghana cedis has been given to NDC to put up its headquarters.
Paid to contractors.
Contractors to put up its headquarters. Okay, so that leaves how much? 21 million? Great. There are issues as to whether the NDC even has a party headquarters or not. Look, if today I am pointing to Ken City, which Honorable Kennedy Japan owns with his newspaper, radio, television, I am sure that the proof of the fact that it belongs to him or to Ken City will lie in its title. There's a man with lots of properties. I mean, he tells us that on a daily basis. I know that, and that is true. I mean, but he would know that before I can point to the fact that a certain structure, a certain property sitting somewhere belongs to Honorable Kennedy Japan, I'll have to fly a certain document in his face.
Okay, so your point is the building in Asylum Down.
I'm not aware of any
Which
NDC
we know, or which has been set to be an NDC headquarters.
I'm not aware. Unless you are willing to again go to the extent of showing the proof. You know, so this 30 million goes out of 51 million. Now we are told that 5 million Ghana cedis also was paid to GBC. How much is that in old? It comes up to 35, right?
Exactly.
It leaves 16 million or that. How much is that 5 million Ghana cedis in old cedi terms? That's about 50 billion. I don't. So is that enough to set up a TV station?
Should
I
be.
mean, okay, so why would the NDC want to pay that just for the sake of coverage of its Congress? That again totally beats my mind.
Now,
that
they will call you to Parliament to listen.
Sure.
We'll call you.
No, I mean, I'd love to understand some of these things. You know, so that comes to 35. We are left with about 16. Out of these 16, Honorable Kennedy Japan also tells us about a certain Castle account. Which bank? Which branch? What's the account number? It's difficult to talk about a Castle account without pointing to the branch on the same program.
I thought they were saying there's no Castle account.
I don't know. In the first place, I'm not aware of a Castle account. Two is that beyond not knowing of this Castle account, I do not know which bank you're talking about. Which bank you're talking about. On this same program, Honorable Kennedy Japan, with great respect, you have sat here. You've spoken about certain monies being transferred from, is it ADB to Unibank or Unibank to ADB? I mean, I think that, again, in the same forthrightness, the same courage, the same tenacity which you have displayed in tackling this issue, I mean, and for which you've become the central point in this whole accountability, is that what the word is. I think that it should be helpful to all of us. You see, anything short of that, particularly as you claim that, particularly as you claim that the documents are in your domain, you know, so and so has been done. I think that then to some extent it defeats the very purpose which you have sought to prosecute. Because you sought to do this, if I understand you correctly, in the interest of Ghana, in the interest of openness, in the interest of accountability, and in the interest of the public good. If at this point you have come this far, you know of all these issues, you have refused to give us better and further particulars, and you are holding this onto your chest, for which reason it constrains us by being able to competently speak to it. Two also is that it challenges the veracity of the allegations you are making, because to some extent people are going to begin wondering, but Honorable Kennedy Japan, this is not his style. Has he got any document? Has he not got any document? If he had, I mean, knowing him, knowing the man, and what we have known,
I promise you, I'll give you a name when we leave this.
But you see, that again is
I'll give you a name
because we are sitting on
I'll
radio.
Give you a name.
We are sitting
and
on
witness
radio.
that
We are sitting
radio.
on national radio, national television.
No, but I won't give you the name like that.
So again,
next time I won't get any information.
Or at least give us documents.
No,
I'll not.
How am I supposed to?
I'll not give it to you.
How helpful are you being in this exercise? How are listeners supposed to know that indeed Honorable Kennedy Japan, the man we have known, when he says, I have my hands on A, indeed he has his hands on A. And then all of a sudden, you bring a matter of such monumental impact up and you fail to show us these documents. I think that
I'm
you're not being
time.
fair to the good people of Ghana.
I'm giving you time.
Seriously.
If the Yoko doesn't come out with the truth, I'll be forced to come out with the truth. No, I'm giving you time.
At this point,
I have dared them.
All of us have been guided by one thing, to get to the bottom of this issue.
Yeah.
Aside that, if there's anybody
you
who
can't
knows
sacrifice
more,
some people
who knows more about this issue
because they are
but is
civil
unwilling
servants
to put it out, then I think that that person, to some extent, is not being helpful to this whole process.
Okay.
You know. So that's about it. The cross-examination bit, I think that there must have been some one-on-one cross-examination, which he did,
Yeah,
so he's unwilling to put it out. But you see, if you listen carefully, you'd get a sense that in all of this, you get a sense that you get a sense that this whole thing is being done just for the sake of election 2012. You know,
I thought you are an honest guy, and this money is big for Ghana.
Let's make his point.
You see, because, look, the NPP has made strenuous efforts to draw the president into this. But I am not surprised, and it's for a very simple reason. The president is being dragged into this by the NPP because, and it is correct, that for election 2012, for election 2012, the NDC is not only going to be judged by its record of achievement in office, but also about the character of the candidates in this election. I mean, so, and that's something that we think that we can take the moral high ground. I mean, we do not believe at all that the president's integrity, his reputation, his honesty, his trustworthiness, we do not think that these virtues can be chipped away. That seems to be at the heart of what the NPP is doing in all of this. But
okay, I need you to wrap in 1 minute so that because we'll have another
I'll leave
opportunity.
it here. I'll come back to it at some
Okay, Kweku.
Well.
But do you have any documents to help us?
Not yet. Out there is the information that there are personalities in the party as well as government who were beneficiaries of some charity from by Woyome. There are people who I know were supposed to be beneficiaries of some cars.
Did your paper publish that?
Yes, well, my boys did.
Okay.
And they did it standing on solid grounds because you see, when somebody has a car in his name and he transfers it to you, there's a trail.
There's still evidence.
And the trails, as far as I know, have been captured and are stored somewhere. We haven't had any response to our story anyway, as we speak. But there are people who were recipients of some cars from the gentleman. There is a list of beneficiaries of some monies. What I haven't seen is bank transfers, which appears to be in the category that the Honorable is talking about. So I haven't seen that. And nobody has monopoly over these things. In fact, in this case, he was a lead investigator. So if he says he's holding onto bank transfers, it would be very naive on my part because I haven't seen it to come and challenge him.
But shouldn't he be giving us something to work with?
It's all legitimate. It's also legitimate to say that the government, based on its philosophy before he came into office, that mere newspaper allegations will be credible candidates for interrogation, could also take the initiative. He's thrown a challenge to Yoko. The government has had some feeble and muted responses to this matter, understandably because they don't appear to have everything at hand. Okay, there was a robust one from Richard Kwashiga, which I think rather didn't help matters because he wasn't responding to specific allegations that have been made. But I think I heard Okuju to a Black Horse, somebody give a response that was a bit muted, though feeble, but it was more responsible in my candid opinion than what the propaganda secretary did. This allegation, then we're talking here specific to the bank transfers. Yeah. Again, there will be paper trail. You can't hide those things. I don't see how it can be erased. if you know how the system, the banking system works.
Admitted that our committee has been given this complaint about the transfer to GBC's account to investigate.
So, and
but did the complainants come with any trail?
No, communications. We are going to do it. We're setting up a meeting, you know.
But did the complaints come with any document or?
No, so we are yet to call
the person.
So maybe I think it's too early, maybe to start drawing conclusions. But I'm saying nothing stops government itself, in view of the seriousness of the allegation, to kickstart some small inquiry into the matter. There are leads, says money to GBC, Castle, there's a treasury. Castle, they have a treasury. So if you say Castle account, I believe that's what it meant. If you go into Ghana at 50 probe, you will see that there's something like that. Castle has a treasury. They even have accounts people at the Castle. No, yes, yeah.
They even have account for Office of President, Chief of Staff.
They exist. Those things exist.
But those are managed from specific banks.
That's right. Sure. I mean, it's a fact. So I wanted to, I mean, not that you
can an individual transfer money into a Castle account?
These things are subject for inquiry. At this stage, my view is that in terms of the bank transfers, I'll hold my fire. I'll wait for more information from Honorable, or alternatively, expect government not to stop at a mere denier and to rather actualize and operationalize the president's philosophy that mere newspaper allegations are enough grounds for investigations, that as for him, we won't call for evidence. Right now, we are asking Ken to give evidence. I believe in that in terms of the philosophical approach. But President Mills appears to believe that mere allegations are enough to kickstart interrogation and investigation. So he might as well go along that side. This is where I stand on this.
Can Attorney General too, that he should also come out and tell us if they don't have different.
If I were in government, I would take a little bit more positive posture on this matter. You see, the Woyome, Waterville, and indeed the judgment debt matter.
276.
Do you know that? 3 years.
Do you have it?
600. 3 years is 600 and something.
6.22.
Look,
622 million.
It's never happened
in 2010. It's 276 million Ghana cedis. And listen to the comment here. If you have it.
This is the Auditor General's report, page 51.
His comment. He said, in my view, these payments could have been avoided if due care was taken by some government officials in the course of exercising their official duties. When you come to page 9...
Sorry, Ikoku has the floor.
No, I want to help him.
And this...
Yeah, page 9. Judgment debt. It says judgment debt payments totaling 275,917,484 cedis, 25 pesos, representing 11% of the total administration expenditure of 2,556,618,613 cedis was paid to some individuals and institutions as compensation and cost against the state. 34. To save the state from incurring such avoidable expenditure, I recommended that any public officer whose negligence leads to the imposition of debt on the state should be surcharged accordingly.
Okay.
Yes,
even the Auditor General's report.
The magnitude of how much we've paid in 3 years, translated into dollars, I'm told
$485 million.
It's incredible. It's never happened in our history. No way, regardless of how, I cannot imagine how a government of the day can preside over this. Even if those claims were legitimate, then I believe prudently it would have been better to stagger the payment.
Okay.
If we can pay $480 million in 3 years as judgment debt, we need not go contracting loans for 10 million, 5 million, 6 million. It doesn't make sense. So there's something to this matter. In there are the subsets like Woyome, Waterville. I'm told some people are even claiming they haven't received any monies.
They're the chiefs.
So it means that we have a huge problem. It may not be a government sat down and said, look, this is a racket, let's go for it. I'm not suggesting that. But clearly something basically went wrong.
Okay.
Okay? that's about that. But I think there are many other issues relating to the Woyome matter.
Yeah, let's Kojo Edwasari address the specifics of the. Are you in any of the committees, communication or public accounts?
No.
Okay.
But I'm keen. I have keen interest in the issues because I also a member of the government's communication team.
So do you have any contrary information that these monies were not paid?
To be honest
as alleged
with you,
by
I was with him 2 days ago. We were seated in Parliament. He's my brother-in-law, so we are related. Very good relationship as well. So we share information. He even gave me information on some report from public accounts and all of that.
Did he show you the documents to back his claims?
That is what I'm waiting for, because as I said, we were on the table tossing this issue back and forth, and I was even advising that aspect of it should wait, you know, for us to have something to show before it comes out. But of course, it came out. I am finding it a bit difficult, with all due respect, brother-in-law.
To believe what he says?
To believe that these things are real. I'm doing this seriously, reservedly, but I still have to go ahead and say it. I can't fathom in my wildest imagination that you want to pay $30 million Ghana cedis to contractors. And yes, the contractors have names, and we can at least, if nothing at all, maybe one name and the amount that it benefited could pass for a clue. Okay, but in this whole thing, it's the quantum, 30 million Ghana cedis.
In total, from what he says, we're looking at 37.5.
Yeah, I'm coming to the contractors.
Out of, what's a total of 51 point something?
It is not 51, my sister. The money is not 51. I can blow a cover again. You are a parliamentarian. I don't want to cut in. Oh, now, today, I sit on your television and radio to inform Ghanaians that Parliament, we have to go back and review all the loans from Austria. It's Woyome who is behind all those loans. And this guy, he's not credible, so any loan that is, look, $345 million for 500 beds, a medical school in Legon, 500 beds with a robot for $345 million. Please.
Okay, so
he has more money to do whatever he's doing, I'm telling you.
Very well.
Yeah.
And even the Waterville, he received 6.9 million euros from the 38.
You see,
and
my only...
He's a crook. I will come to that.
My only... what I pick from this the freshest allegation again is one of an indictment on Parliament itself, because if Parliament contracts a loan, or it's
not an indictment. How would you know that the guy is behind it?
Certainly, that it means.
But you need not know who is behind the loan. You should be able to scrutinize the loan to see if it's in the national interest or not.
Certainly, that's exactly the point I wanted to make. So if we've allowed such a situation to happen, then Parliament is the worst culprit in this matter, and not Woyome. Let me go back to the issue. I'm saying here that I am finding it very difficult to accept, or if I want to break issues down, the way as my brother James did, it calls for some begging questions to be answered.
Such as what?
Yeah, as I said, GBC, 5 million Ghana cedis went there.
It's a conduit.
Within a short period, it was
money laundering complete.
Nothing to prove that. Okay, and to be honest with you, yesterday in the morning, I was lying in bed when Kojo Nkrumah started the promo for this issue, So I was just waiting to hear that there is some evidence to show that this money really
So what should
existed.
we do with this allegation for now? Should we just ignore it?
Honestly,
until
I'm coming to
substantive-
that. I said, look, Joy FM, no, this does not suit you. Because you've done very good jobs in the past, and this particular one should not pass for a morning show. That is what my personal, because I thought that, look, let one document be shown, okay? But there was no such thing. And it took a while, questions here and there.
This is a clear challenge.
And for me, I think that...
Now, I wrote in Attorney General.
But you want to see evidence.
Hold on, Baba. You see, President Mills, when he wanted to clear himself, said, I'm going to ask Yoko to investigate this case. Now, I've also said that Yoko, they didn't complete their job because they eliminated certain
We were
things.
told this is an interim report.
So,
maybe
yeah, so good.
The full
So
report
now,
will come.
good. So wait for the full report.
The next point.
So wait for the full report.
I will want to ask
they'll be
my...
honest.
I will want to ask my brother-in-law if he will oblige a call or an invitation by the Yoko.
They always invite me.
No, on this particular matter.
They always
And go and
invite
give
me.
them the evidence. So that
They have the evidence and they are hiding it.
No.
They have the evidence and they are hiding it.
Exactly. That's the point I'm
When
making.
it's Kenya Japan, you go line by line, the date, when it was transferred. And when it gets to NDC, you only sacrifice the state attorney. It is not fair.
okay.
Yeah, so I'm saying that if my brother-in-law will oblige such an invitation to go and provide, because with Yoko, no, because it is you who is alleging right now, okay, that they have
I'll
it.
tell you,
They may not have
I'll tell
it
you. I'll
as
tell you.
has been presented to you.
Oh, the whole government spokesman.
Okay, they may not have it as has been presented to you. Okay, so they may have to sit with you, show them what you have. They will compare with what they have.
I mean, would you go voluntarily to Yoko to say, I think this is
No,
additional information?
because they
that
have
you
the
ignored?
information. If they want to invite me, I'll go and challenge them that they should bring it out. I'll go. Let the Yoko
If I
invite
may
me.
come in for just a second, you see, Honorable Kennedy Japan, I have said that I admire the energy
use
you
that
put
to
in
cool
this.
me.
Oh, no. I admire the energy you put into
But
this.
your
I
issue is what?
admire the courage you put into it. You see, my little problem at this point, for example, is that if Honorable Kennedy Japan proceeds, for example, to start mentioning names of whoever he says or he now begins to say is on this list, nobody will have the benefit of verifying. And
Which is where we are right now.
He can get away with that by maligning and scandalizing everybody.
Actually, that's
this is
where we
what
are
I
right
think is a problem with where we are at this point. So that, particularly as it's a very important matter, he's taken up the challenge. He's done a fantastic job at it. I think that is in the interest of openness, transparency, accountability. I see no reason why, if he has any document, he'll be holding onto it. I think that what he needs to do is to proceed to put these documents in the public domain. Because you see, now you seem to be saying that, okay, I have made an allegation, go shop for the evidence to prosecute yourself. I think that if at this point you have any such document, we think the EOCO has given us what they say is an interim report. You think that that itself is problematic, given what you know. You should give the good people of Ghana better and further particulars, embarrass the EOCO, and then let us move on.
Okay, I've got to do some text messages.
I didn't finish.
Okay, I'll give you another minute to wrap up.
Right. As James said, coming to the document, I believe firmly that if there was any such document on this earth, the first person that I expect to have it is my big brother.
Why do you say that?
Seriously, because I have, because you see, his paper, okay, published some names and some beneficiary names of some
vehicles,
vehicles or what. So
and
certainly, if there was anything to add, okay, certainly would have come through that same conduit.
Are you saying that Kennedy Japan is lying to us?
I am not saying, please. I'm saying,
you see,
he dared somebody. He dared the
So you're also daring him.
I am also
Okay.
by this.
Now I'll ask Kweku after the
Ken,
program.
it seems
I'll
like
give the name.
your integrity is on the line. Everybody is daring you.
I
the integrity of your allegations
I'll
on
give
the
the
line.
name and ask Kweku. You're a journalist. Go there and confront them.
Right.
We'll be,
But until then, we want to.
You see, you do that and you embarrass you. What didn't Woyome say? What did he say?
I am not in one way or the other trying to downplay what you say. I want to see.
Very well.
Okay, I want to see. Okay, and now to conclude. You see, this whole thing, for me, as James said earlier, is some design. There is some design, I can see a grand design to taint President Mills in this whole saga. Otherwise, okay, you see, for me now, the issue is the man is in court now. Okay, if you have any issue that can help in retrieving this money, if there's a need to do so, let's all help to do so, rather than, chipping in things that will end up not washing. Because honestly, I believe that President Mills cannot be faulted in this matter.
Very well. I've got to do some text messages and then we'll continue. I'm also told that the Honorable Chumesi Appiah wants to contribute to the discussion in relation to some comments that were made, references to him. J. Shadrach in Kofodia says, I commend Honorable Ken for the brave work done as MP and a citizen of Ghana. I'm very sad the NDC wants to divert the Woyome issues to the limping man. Day in, day out, we hear the issue of cocaine being associated with the MPP members. This won't solve the issue on board. Shiftman in Kumasi says, no amount of desperate moves by the government to clean the president of this Woyome fraud will stand. Ghanaians deserve a decisive and firm leader in 2013. Suleimana says, believe it or not, this Ken man is so confident to lie to Ghanaians. If he's daring EOCO to come clear on this issue, why don't they clear the airwaves? Okay, Jamal says, is the judge who refused Woyome bill the same as John Ajet Nassam, who contested parliamentary elections in Kwachi, Volta region on the MPP ticket? Well, I don't know what that has to do with it, really. This has no name. It's an anonymous texter. It says, he who the gods must kill, they first make mad. Okay, I'm not going to continue. This also has no name. It says, Honorable Kenneth Japan has admitted that he's perusing this Woyome agenda. He's pursuing this Woyome agenda because his wife has been investigated by EOCO. I wish his passion is driven by patriotism other than partisanship. Okay. Wafake says, why haven't the NDC used the paying of judgment debt as one of their biggest achievements? Anan, in confidence, Tamale says, who will kill his son to please his adversary? This is the enormity of the injustice President Mills has committed against Woyome and the party. Clement in Bipe says, Ghanaians, let us drive this gargantuan president and his gargantuan ministers away from power come December. Ahmed in Tamale said, can you see the resemblance between Malik and Woyome? They may be distant twins. Oh, really? Okay.
That's supposed to be a compliment.
Robert Abugri in Bolga says, is this fresh evidence coming from the police investigations or from an opposition figure? As far as we know, so far it's Kennedy Ejapon who is making the allegations. He has not given us any proof yet, so we wait to see what comes out of that. Derek in Kenya, he says, tell the Honorable Ejapon and his party to stop the noise making over this Woyome saga. They should be objective for once, for the sake of Mother Ghana. You're still on Newsfile. It's brought to you in association with TTB, which is now a member of the EcoBank Group, also in association with Unique Insurance and MTN. I want us to move on to a few more issues. Kweku, I think you were going to be on the floor prior to that. We've talked about this. There's no evidence, and so it's very difficult for us to progress, really, with this specific allegations of money transfers or bank transfers. But, okay, I'm told now that we have the Honorable Chumesi Appiah on the line. He says some references was made to him in Honorable Kennedy Ejapong's presentation. So he's joined us on the line. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. So what exactly are your reservations, if we can hear them?
Our reservations are that Donald Japan has indeed lost his credibility. And if I were him, I would stop speaking on air. And I personally told him in person that if I were him, I would just shut up. There's a man who go raising allegation over even your CEO, that's a drug dealer, and he went into his share like a snail and came begging. And at that time he was speaking on that issue, he said he had evidence.
Sorry.
And yes, he went begging. I'm coming. Master, if you allow me to speak. He went begging. And he came to beg and you will forgive him.
Oh.
Sorry, what are you referring to specifically?
You are a member of parliament. You've been voted for to exercise oversight responsibility over the executive or government agencies and institutions. If you have such an issue, bring it to the floor. He is comfortable saying these things on radio because he knows that, well, whatever he says, he can get away with it free without anybody challenging him. Come to the house, raise the issue, let's challenge you. And then you give evidence, you prove it. You don't go around on radio station when you've been voted for to do your job. His main core duty as a member of parliament, he has to be negated to the background and go around telling a lot of untruth and lies. The issue about GBC. The Auditor General account, the AG's Auditor General this thing came to us long time ago. And we approved the budget somewhere in November, December to GBC. You remember of the Select Committee on Communications. These issues are reflected in the IGF. Did you raise that issue? He didn't. He didn't even attend to the meeting. Recently, this issue, when we had the meeting at Alita Hotel, was brought to my attention. We're having ways to call them and let them come and explain. He was not even there.
What was brought to his attention?
When it matters most, he will not be there. In 2008, I recall that when there was too much noise about national debt, myself and Benjamin Kumbo filed a question, urgent question. And I was the one, Benjamin Kumbo was not around, I was the one who asked the question. And the Honorable Osea Kutu answered the question. What prevents Canada Japan to put an urgent question to the Minister of Finance that I have this detail, can you come and tell us what is going on? He won't, because he knows that in Parliament will challenge you. You remember the campaign about from the castle and those things. The Honorable Joe Bidjansan raised the issue. You know, that is why we do business. That's why we exercise oversight responsibility of the government. Not to be going around telling people what you don't know. And he's talking about the fact that he didn't refer to the IGF. If you actually ask him, as a member of the committee, did you ask them? Did you? That's a question that Japan should answer.
All right, I just want
to be the savior of Ghanaians, that he see people are stealing our money, he wants to find out. It should be on the floor of the house, at the committee level, or whatever.
Can I respond?
Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. I just want you to clarify something. You said something was brought to your attention recently.
Yes.
What was it?
Well, we were told that his own allegations that GBC have collected 5 million Ghana cedi from Woyome. So can we look at it? And I said, yes, of course, we'll look at it as a committee because we all want to get to the bottom of this matter. So indeed, yesterday, when the clerk called me to fix a date, I said, I have not spoken to the ranking member. I cannot be so autocratic to fix a date when members are not aware. So let me speak to the ranking and then we'll fix a date and then have a hearing. But he was not even there when these issues have been discussed.
Okay.
He will not even, as a member, who has a direct oversight responsibility over GBC, doesn't raise the issue, even not even at the committee level.
Okay.
Let alone putting a question on the floor of the House. Let alone trying to invite GBC to come explain their side of the story. Yes, he goes to radio stations and makes wild allegations. He claims that the finance minister is at fault, he did ABCD. Why not? As an MP, I'm not a member of the finance committee, but I invited the finance minister then, Dr. Kutu, to come answer questions. Put an urgent question. Let us deal with you on the floor. If Japan thinks that he has information, come to the floor, let's flash it out. That's why your members voted, your conference voted for you to be there, to be in parliament. Let's see the relations there, not on radio. You are a Messiah, come let's save ourselves on the floor. Come and debate us. So we'll all rise up to you,
give me a chance
and challenge you. Because that's on radio, you can say till that is presentation. But on the floor of the parliament, you can't just be saying what he was saying or what he's saying without presentation. You would have asked Madagascar to withdraw.
All right. Thank you very much for your intervention there. And I just like to correct an initial impression. I'll give you the opportunity to respond. Just an initial impression about the morning show discussing what Mr. Duasai thought was fresh allegations. My understanding is that they were asking whether it was worth pursuing if there was no evidence to justify it. So it wasn't like they were having a whole, there was a whole field of discussion.
Let me respond quickly to that. You see, what radio does, okay, somebody is driving and is walking past, or driving or walking past somewhere, and this thing drops in their mind.
Okay, so they don't hear everything.
That's what I'm saying. So if there is no evidence, I don't expect Joy FM for its whatever reputation.
You don't expect Joy FM to even
not
ask
at all.
where is the evidence?
I have had my dial on Joy FM since 1995, and I want it to remain there.
Very well.
So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Thank you. Mr. Japan, just respond quickly and then let's move on.
Yeah.
I think his overall point is that as a member of parliament, if you have issues with how the executive is managing the purse, you have a responsibility to put your issues before parliament. Raise urgent questions for ministers to come and answer. He thinks you're going from station to station making allegations that you cannot substantiate. And that's easy to do because on the floor of parliament, when you bring those things up, you'll be asked, you know, questions.
You know what? I take exception to what he said, that I don't even attend meetings. As a chairman as he is, even the budget time, how many times did he come with a clean face? You go and smoke your weed.
Hey, please, no.
Please.
No,
What do
I'm
you
sorry.
mean?
No,
the
I'm
guy
sorry.
is insulting me.
No, I'm sorry. He just
He's
said,
a weed smoker.
Okay, no,
he goes
sorry.
out there.
We have to put
he
his
doesn't
microphone
even
on.
do anything.
No,
please.
no.
I'm not scared of that idiot.
No,
What are you talking
please,
about?
no.
No. I don't take
I'm
that.
sorry. We have to say goodbye to you.
Well,
I
too
told you
bad,
from
then
the
I can
beginning.
leave.
I told you
Then
from
I
the
can
beginning.
leave. I don't have time.
I need you. Here's what you need to do.
No, please. I walk
listen,
out.
No,
Please.
listen.
I don't have time.
Listen, I need you
You can't intimidate me because I also have a TV station.
You know, before
That
we
is
started.
straight. Yes, but the guy is
Okay, we'll
imputing
take a
that
break.
I'm
We'll
not
take a break.
intelligent. I don't come
We'll
to
take a
meetings.
break.
That weed
Stay
smoker,
with
he
us.
doesn't even attend meetings.
No,
Please.
on behalf of this station, that we dissociate ourselves from those comments made about the Honorable Chumesi, and also to say that we did speak to Mr. Japan to retract the comment and apologize. He refused. So unfortunately, he's had to take leave of us so we can continue with the discussion. I'm going to do some text messages now. Edmond in Accra says, the Honorable Kennedy Japan, may I officially confer on you a full professor in Woyome, the study of gargantuan crimes against the state. Ben in Teshi says, we want to hear the evidence where the other monies went. All that Kennedy is saying are not new. Okay. This is an anonymous texter. Says, despite all the negative news on government, the image and integrity of President Mills remains clean. We're happy with his work. He should remain focused. Jamal says, tell Kennedy Japan that Osafo Mafo's presidential campaign was financed by... Okay, again, this is something I have no proof of, so I'm not going to go there. Thank you. Keep your text messages coming, 1422-1760 across all networks. I think we're going to bring this Woyome discussion to a final close. I'll take quick comments around the table. There have been quite a few developments, but unfortunately we won't have time to go into all of the developments. But we'll take quick comments on, as I'm sure you're aware, both Betty Moldidrisu and Mr. Yao Osafo have voluntarily offered to assist the police with the investigations. Mr. Woyome and Mr. Asimenu and Mr. Nekwe are all before court facing criminal charges. They are all on remand in police grips whilst the case continues. So we talked about this here last week, that perhaps the other officials who should be held accountable. Now we hear Betty voluntarily offering to assist the police. We hear Osafo Mafu doing the same. Abdul Malik Kubaku. This is where you think the investigation should be proceeding?
Well,
should we leave them to decide that they want to cooperate, or should the state institutions require them to cooperate? Yeah,
before I answer that, the Woyome, I haven't, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen the charge sheet.
Okay.
And what counts are being preferred against him.
Okay.
But the little legal education I've had in recent times, and I'm sure he's better placed to interrogate this issue, is that if we're out there to charge him with, is it false pretenses by
defrauding
by
under false pretenses
and relative strictly to the judgment debt that he obtained with a court stamp on, he may walk home free. So perhaps we have to look at issues, events that preceded when he went into court and got that particular judgment. In any case, we ought to even set aside that judgment and all those things. So we ought to be careful. This para approach of civil litigation, at the same time criminal prosecution. Let those who have the legal brains interrogate it carefully. Because out there is a conspiracy theory. Now, for all you know, this is a scheme to orchestrate the man's eventual freedom.
to charge him.
I haven't said that's a fact.
Okay.
I haven't said it as a matter of a fact.
Sure.
It's purely speculative. Maybe some little mischief driving it, if you care. But don't underestimate it.
Just for the benefit to help this discussion, as far as I remember, listening to Samida, who was in court reporting on this matter, the police said they needed more time to prefer proper charges. But in the interim, they still needed to hold him. And to do that, they still needed to prefer some charges against him.
Yes,
so that they
so
could
I hope, because I heard
investigation.
this thing about fraud by false pretenses. And
It's one
if
of
it's
the
relative to
now.
the judgment debt on its own, there may be a problem there. I'm not a lawyer, but some lawyers have educated me on that matter. So they should look at it carefully. As I'm saying, there are people who think, for all you know, it could be a scheme to free the gentleman at the end of the day. Yesterday, there were some chiefs from the Volta region who visited him, and the kind of posture about him being from their land, him being a member of the NDC, and even asking for a pardon. Are we at a stage where he can be granted a pardon?
No,
so
I think
all these things
that was clarified.
Yeah, these things are
by
not
some
helpful.
lawyer.
You know, so we need to get over it. So that's another matter. You know, Auntie Betty, it's quite interesting. The way things are going now, the impression I get is that it is Woyome and the two civil servants, the Asimenu and Nekwe Tete, and perhaps the wife, who are the real targets. That's how it's looking like. I'm not sure if that's a very exhaustive list for prosecution. Now she comes out doing a voluntary thing. So somebody even told me that that itself was part of a scheme, you know, that preempt, because people were asking, why, how about him, how about her? So now she volunteers. If she volunteers, why are you going to look for her? So again, there's a conspiracy theory out there. It may not be true, but it's there. All these things are important. You see, the Woyome thing is so scandalous that, and it has brought this government under serious integrity pressure, that the least thing that doesn't go well can go against government's integrity. So they have to look at some of these matters. No, and there was a statement in her, a portion of a statement that is factually incorrect about critical payments were made not based on her, you know, authority or so. No, but there's a December 9th letter that she sent to the finance minister, which was based on a December 7th, 2010 pre-trial settlement conference they had with Woyome's solicitors. And in there was a package that paid the balance, the 34 that was left. You know, so it's difficult to delink that letter from the subsequent payments which were made when she had exited. She exited, I think, January 4th, 2011 from the Ministry of Justice. So that also is a little bit factually incorrect. Osafo Mafu, I think it's a joke. It's a sick joke that there's an attempt to even rope in the Osafo. Is it relative to Woyome or is it Waterville? What is it that Yoko is seeking? Okay, if it is not out there to do what I've described as shoddy and deficient and poor attempt at political equalization, there's no basis for the Osafo Mafu thing. What is it supposed to answer?
Assist with investigation.
Yes, in what direction? They are holding that cabinet memo that was purported to have cancelled a tender process. They are holding the August 22nd, 2005 letter from Osafo Mafu. They are holding the concurrent approval given by the Central Tender Review Board August 5th, 2005. These are the areas. These are useless documents at this stage. They
That's
have no
your view.
value.
Shouldn't they still interrogate?
Let me tell you, if last week I said
people said
here
that Woyome had done something which was fraudulent. Fine, but beyond what people think,
in Woyome's
the
case,
state institutions
it's
have to
That's why I asked the question, whether it's with Woyome or whatever. Because Woyome, even government says he had no contract. The man to say he had no contract, and we are now told that it was fraud, and he's in court facing criminal prosecution. So that part is settled. So how are you going to drag Osafo Mafu in the Woyome matter? It's out. So perhaps it's the Waterville.
Okay,
that's the point I'm making. No, but I want to prove some point. That's why last week I asked whether Iwoko has a procurement expert or had access to expertise and competent technical knowledge from procurement people. The procurement law, this is the law. Public Procurement Act 2003, Act 633, 663. It also goes, you don't read it in isolation, or you don't deal with it in isolation. It goes with the various schedules. And the Schedule 4, Standard Tender Documents, and Standard Request for Proposals, Schedule 4, the one that deals with instructions to tenderers. This one, I have done my research. I got education from procurement experts. Now, Betty, in one of her letters, indicated that the August 5th letter from the Central Tender Review Board, which went to the minister, that's Osafo Mafu, in her opinion, she considered that as a binding agreement. See, the education I've had shows that, one, the Central Tender Review Board does not award contracts. Concurrent approval does not amount to award of contract.
Okay.
It does not. It's basic. If you read this Procurement Act and read the ITT, that is clear. Okay? So, on what basis did anybody come by that conclusion that this is a binding document? And for Iwoko, today, after investigation, to still proceed on the basis of a perceived illegality committed by Osafo Mafu, this same Procurement Act gives the procurement entity the right, the latitude, to actually reject any tender prior to acceptance of the tender. It's documented. Okay? This, I'll read just two portions, paragraphs, and leave it for you. See, Clause 32.1 of the ITT, of the Standard Tender Document, clearly stated, it says, notwithstanding Clause 31.1, the employer reserves the right to accept or reject any tender and to cancel the tender process and reject all tenders at any time prior to the award of contract without thereby incurring any liability to the affected tenderer or tenders, or any obligation to inform the affected tenderer or tenders of the grounds for the employer's action. Then DC spokespersons who were speaking for Woyome at one stage were quoting section 65, 4, which said that between the time when the notice is dispatched to the supplier or contractor and the entry into force of the procurement contract, neither the procurement entity nor the supplier or contractor shall take any action that interferes with the entry into force of the procurement contract or with its performance. This, if it's read in isolation from what I read, then you would think that the truncation of the tender process was illegal. Okay. But this is what it says. It says, until contract is formed, when acceptance is communicated by notification of the award, the document which regulates the conduct of a tender process prior to contract award is the tender document. And you know how? It is spelled out in law, how you notify somebody that he's won a contract.
Okay. It's
notified. Okay. Now, Iwoko is talking of a letter Empower Pack wrote to a minister saying that at a meeting with you, you informed me that I had won a contract.
So that was
verbal. Completely useless. Okay. In the face of the law, it's useless document, that letter, and ought not to even be part of any serious investigator's purview.
Okay, what I think will happen is that we'll leave that decision to the investigators. If they think they
see some of these things, let's educate people. These documents are available. They are not secret documents.
I'm sure the investigators have access to them.
They did not bother to, otherwise it will be here. My last point, I have found out that Konsa was not invited by Iwoko. Okay. Somebody tells me Micheliti went. If Micheliti went, what did they go and see? They would do what exactly they did for Woyome. Micheliti and Waterville, they are two sides of one coin. all the monies, the contract sum, the global contract sums were paid to Micheliti and Konsa, and that's documented. I have them here. So if Waterville had any claim, it should have gone to Micheliti or Konsa and not Ghana government.
Very well.
We have sat down and paid Waterville 77 million Ghana cedis, more than what Woyome has collected. The two put together is a scandal of gargantua proportion.
Thank you. Let's hear the Honorable Idrasari on this.
Matilda, I've been struggling to, again, as a young man, you know, interested in how Ghana becomes prosperous and how we can go ahead with our resources, natural and those that come from a human resource and all of that. I have always hoped that all of us, whichever level we find ourselves, we will put up our best for our nation. This whole issue, of course, you cannot rule out the scandalous nature as it sounds and look, okay, when you hear them. But I also think that that is why we have formed institutions to handle some of these issues. This whole Woyome issue is turning out to look like the Amina type of issue, okay, where we, the public, tried the case, okay, the way we wanted it before it was sent to court, for the judge to do what with it. For me, that is exactly where we are moving with this Woyome issue. We have institutions, and we have to respect the mandate of these institutions and allow them to operate. What we've succeeded in doing the last 3 months is to weaken almost all of these. When it comes to the judge, one group likes the judge, the other group says no, they didn't do what was right. It comes to prosecutor, the same. It comes to EOCO, the same. So which institutions are we going to work with from now on? Which institutions are we going to allow to prosecute our issues for us from now on? These are the things. I find it very difficult to hear some of the arguments that are being bandied everywhere. Because yes, we have to interrogate the issues. We have to appear on radio prepared to, you know, manage and debate very well. Yes, but we should let the systems operate. What we are doing, I wonder what work will be there for the judge to do when this case is brought before him. Because we might have tried the case already. These people, for now, are alleged to have defrauded, for want of a better word, our system. Why won't we allow the very systems we've also put, the institutions that we have, to try them, and let's see how the case goes. But before then, it appears that there's a lot of suspicion left, right, and center. Oh, government wants to shield this person. I will
so we
sit
shouldn't
here.
Talk about it from
No, I'm not saying. Look, before it went to court, yes.
But it's always been in court.
No. Recently, after the arrest, because that's now.
You're talking about the latest update.
Of course, after the arrest.
He was talking.
Charges were prepared.
He
Exactly.
was all over the place talking. Press conferences.
You see, I agree with you, because as was said earlier, he might have invoked some of these trouble onto himself. Okay, by all manner, I have my reservations on those issues. But in all fairness, it could be anybody. It could be he's somebody's uncle, somebody's subject, as the chiefs went to solidarize with him yesterday. He is somebody's father. So the very things that will be or is allowed for that other person whose issue is not being, for want of a better word, bastardized, as we are doing with his case now, let's allow the system to operate. And let's not be too quick also to lace this whole case or to taint this whole case as, of course, the conspiracy theories certainly cannot be ruled out. But let the courts decide that. Let our own systems we've put in place
okay, I
push
think that
this
point
matter.
is made.
Yes.
I want you to just address quickly for me this offer from Betty and Osafo to voluntarily assist.
Well, I think
it seems like it's the Woyome and the public officials.
I believe that all of us are Ghanaians. If I offend a law, I should be made to face the music. In this matter, nobody should be shielded or made to feel any special. Okay? And for me, I also think that when you are given the opportunity, Osofo Mafo and co, I heard him about 3-4 days ago saying that he is prepared to go to the assistant. For me, that is perfect. But until he spoke, others had come out. Oh, we won't let him go. He won't go. Why are you roping him into this whole thing? There's this issue, this saying in Chi. Say, Woody can call, like, to wait. If you get to the, the first person to get to the police with your case, it doesn't make you innocent. Okay, Woody can do some call police station. I know it's a Woody bin. You understand? So we should keep that in mind. That yes, somebody might have taken you to the police. Oh, Obomasum, he slapped me. Assault. And he rushes there to a report and you may be arrested. It doesn't mean you will go to jail or you are guilty. So sometimes these opportunities rather give you the chance to say what the real issues are, and that might even exonerate you.
Very well.
So for me, nobody is going to be shielded as much as I'm concerned. I am in NDC. We are not prepared to shield anybody. If anybody is found complicit in this matter, I'm sure President will not cover up that person.
Okay, James, I'm going to take your comments and then we'll have to move on. I've just got some small points.
No, I'll defer.
Okay, no problem. So that you can deal with what I'm coming up with.
No, I'll just defer to you.
See, in a democracy, I agree. There are institutions and there are rules. The rule of law demands of us clearly that we should allow whoever is found guilty must have been found guilty through due process. I agree. We are not judges. The court of public opinion cannot find somebody guilty and, for that matter, send the person to court. I share that. But you see, the quote-unquote request that my brother was making, it's almost impossible to...
That we stop discussing.
No, it's impossible. In this active society, democratic society, it's very... You can't have it. And there's history to that effect. Look, when Hotel Kufuor, quote-unquote, African Regent Hotel, was a subject matter before the Shraj, then DC, and the media across the divide did not allow Shraj that space that you finish before we talk. Even when Shraj finished, they still were contesting the findings of Shraj.
Okay,
indeed, no. When Kufuor's private residence matter was before Shraj, our brothers did not allow Shraj to terminate his investigations before commenting on it. It didn't happen. The systems were there. So we have developed a certain culture of active civil society participation in issues of public interest. Whilst the courts are there, the police and all those things are there. And I think that we should be able to strike a certain balance. At the end of the day, whatever I say here will not be sufficient to jail Woyome. And no judge worth his salt will take what I say here as a basis for judgment. No judge. Then he doesn't deserve to be a judge. So yes, let's talk. Plenty talk. Let's have it.
Okay.
It's better than the culture of silence.
Okay, I've got a couple of text messages, but I'll let James, and also James just drew my attention to a publication on Ghana Web. It's dated February 11. It's a Ghana News Agency publication, and the headline is GBC has never received any payment from Woyome. That's from the GBC management. I'll just read the first paragraph. It says, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation on Friday said it had never received any payment from Alfred Agbeshi Woyome, a businessman at the center of the controversial judgment debt. If you go to Ghana Web, I'm sure you can read up the rest.
That's a denial from GBC. Yes, that should be put together, put alongside allegation and subjected to an inquiry.
And somebody wants me to ask you, Kweku, this is from Kwame. It says, oops. Okay, I'll find it. I'll come back to it. It says, this is Kwame. Ask Kweku on what basis Waterville was made to do the work for which settlement was done by the previous government if there was no contract, whether that did not constitute an illegality worthy of investigation, and for which Osafo Maafo needs to answer questions.
Before I give a substantive answer, let the person ask himself if indeed they had established that Waterville had no legal contract, they say without parliamentary approval, so there was an illegality which Kufuor had paid for. I ask you yourself, how come 25 million euro has been paid to Waterville under this government?
So there was a contract?
There was,
okay,
which was terminated.
But he's saying, his point is that
if there
was
an MOU
which was terminated, then Osafo Maafo needs to assist the police investigation.
You see, they don't get it. It has nothing to do with Woyome.
Very well.
I think that distinction should be drawn.
Okay.
Waterville's case is distinct
Let's hear James
from Woyome's case.
But
in any case, I asked, the gentleman should ask, how come this government, with the benefit of hindsight, if indeed there was illegality, set up a mediation process and paid Waterville 25 million euro on basis of an illegality?
Your point is made. Let's hear James.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't even know where to start from. I mean, Kweku, if I may just ask a question before I proceed, did NPP pay any money to Waterville during its tenure?
Yes, through Micheliti and Consa, for the work they had already done.
Because you see, this 25 million euro you are tossing is not exactly correct. I think that you know there's what I would call factual inexactitude about it. You see. I'll go to that. Let me just quickly start from the Waterville bit and then maybe proceed to talk. I don't even know where to tackle this matter from.
Let's deal with
Let me just talk about this Waterville bit first. It is correct to say that under this administration headed by President Mills, nobody has given Mr. Alfred Woyome or any of the companies he represents or represented a contract. Fundamental, bottom line. This administration has not given Mr. Alfred Woyome nor any of the companies he represented or represents a contract. Now let me go to the issue of Waterville. What happened during the NPP regime was that you find Honorable Obi Amwa, and you know, this is a matter, again, I think I need to even preface it with this. This is a matter, aspects of which is pending before the courts, aspects of which is a subject of continuous investigation, given that, I mean, EOCO's report itself is an interim one. The police at this point are also involved and they are looking at various aspects of it. So I'll be quite careful in the way I deal with it. But you notice that Honorable Obi Amwa instructs Waterville to proceed to site to work.
On the basis of an MOU, you were told.
Yeah, I don't know what whether the MOU cures the constitutional requirement that the government of Ghana, in entering into any such arrangement with a body corporate, I mean, from an international body, should seek parliamentary approval. I'm not sure that, I mean, the memorandum of understanding can be a substitute for the parliamentary approval that is required. You know, so that in the absence of parliamentary approval, you find a deputy minister of sports who ties the hands of the Republic of Ghana to a contract. And mind you, in this area, there's a decided case. Our Supreme Court has made a clear and unambiguous decision. I mean, in a case called Ferro Atlantic versus Attorney General, at the heart of which is that if the Republic of Ghana enters into a contract with any international body without parliamentary approval, ab initio, that is null and void. So I do not
So
know
why did you pay them 25
I do not, could just let
Based on your own logic, why have you paid them 25 million?
Just let me finish. So I do not know. I mean, my point is whether this, your memorandum of understanding, is a substitute for
there was a contract before, after the memorandum of understanding.
There cannot be.
This is it. Look,
this is why all these issues.
No, it is there.
No,
you don't have it.
The fact that I thrust the paper in your face and call it a contract.
But this is the contract.
But you know that
which came into
effect
26 April 2006.
You see, but what you
conditions
fail
of precedence
to acknowledge is that there's a condition precedent.
So was terminated.
There's a condition precedent. That condition precedent.
You can't win this case in any court of law.
Kweku, let's make
the condition precedent is that, Kweku, I hope
raise money. You didn't raise. So I said,
the condition precedent.
Kweku Baku Jr. Thank you.
Parliamentary approval.
James,
the condition precedent is that in order to form a valid contract with the Republic of Ghana, if you are an international body, there is the need for prior parliamentary approval. That did not happen.
Clause 17(1).
So when the NPP abrogated its agreement with Waterville, what it went ahead to do was to award them 20 million euros, out of which in its own time in office it paid 11 million euros.
That's not true.
That is why I found it surprising that Kweku says that under this administration,
under this administration,
25 million euros have been paid.
What is here? This is the Yoko report.
I find, but this is the same Yoko report.
See, what does it say here?
You know, so I find that very disingenuous. You know, so the NPP in its own time paid 11 million out of a 20 million awarded. You know, I think the earlier part when the earlier part work done
certified,
for what? Work done without parliamentary approval is no work done. Bottom line.
So why have you paid 25 million?
That is why these
on the same logic.
That is why these are all matters.
Why have you paid 25 million under your government?
Being investigated.
Come on.
You know, so I'm sure that at the end of the day we'll get to the bottom of it. You know, I think some issue have been raised about staggering.
Okay, somebody wants me to ask you a question.
The Yoko report. Let's
staggering
judgment. Kweku Baku. It says, do the Chinese who are working on the gas projects have a contract?
Oh, parliamentary approval.
Parliamentary approval
at this stage. It is no big deal. Like, we have thousands of examples.
I can.
There are thousands of examples.
This is a public platform. It's important that whatever I put out
there, it will come later, and there will be nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
You know, so, well, I'm wondering whether it came later. We have yet to see that. Nobody has.
The gas project we're told has started.
I'm talking about the Waterville.
It didn't get there. We terminated it. It's here.
So what was the contract that was formed then? If there was no parliamentary approval, what contract was formed?
Can I read this? Because I think we are
No.
It's not fair. What he's doing is not fair.
To distort my
You are doing it. Oh, no.
I'm not going to allow this. I deferred to you much earlier. Now it's my turn to have this platform. I'm not being deliberate. I think you are not allowing me, and listeners and viewers are seeing that. You know, I think that earlier on also talk was made or mention was made of staggering judgment debt which has been paid. You know, again, we need to ask, when were these judgment debts incurred? When were these circumstances which led to the award of these judgment debts themselves?
Majority under you.
Under
your government.
Abdul Malik Kweku Baku Jr. Behave.
I think he's behaving. He's just deliberate. He just
Stop heckling. I wanted to answer him.
It was a rhetorical
from the Nkrumah days to today, but majority under PNDC, NDC 1, NDC 2.
Okay.
But
it's still the government of Ghana.
That's a fact.
So you acknowledge that it's not like this administration has come abrogating contracts, resulting in the award.
Said that. I was talking of the payment of that huge amount in a short space of time.
So you see,
imprudent at best.
Thank you, Kweku.
When you owe, you've got to pay.
Please finish your point. We have to move on.
Okay, I apologize.
No apology needed. You know, so you see, if today we are talking of staggering payment of judgment debt, it is because these have been accumulating over time. You need to understand that when judgment debts are given, it is given as, you are paying X amount at the prevailing rate, at the prevailing interest rates of the banks till the date of final payment. So if you were given 1 cedi today, and those who have to pay, for example, sat down for 100 years, you are not going to in 100 years time get the same 1 cedi. So again, that issue ought to be clearly
what if
understood
they
and
legitimately
appreciated.
believe this was worth contesting?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
No,
you.
I'm
And there are
going to
many
deal.
more such
I'm going to deal with that. I'm only talking
I'm only
about.
thanking you.
Just did.
I'm only
Keep
talking
quiet.
about.
Thank you.
I'm only talking about if figures, for example, I mean,
I'm thanking you.
We've seen some staggering figures. It's not because somebody has done anything untoward. It's because maybe it's been awarded, say, 1996, nobody has paid, and it is still accumulating and accruing.
Some two were not
interest.
exactly judgment debts.
That is what it is. You know, there's
Fresh allegation.
Okay,
I
that's
think
also.
Some we didn't go to court.
Bako Junior. Why are you behaving like this today?
Throw light on the issue.
No. Okay, I'd like you to address quickly this voluntary offer to assist the police and the perception out there that we're leaving the politicians who have ultimate responsibility and just nailing the public servants.
This is a matter that is in the hands of state institutions, and in all fairness, I like to believe that they will do a good and a fair job. It's difficult for me to appreciate, however, where this attempt at volunteering information sits with the way the police CID works. I would have thought, for example, that when Yoko was written to by His Excellency the President to conduct investigations into the matter, all the interested parties and all those other people who have had a thing to do with this or the other would have availed themselves of the opportunity. I thought that would have been the appropriate platform where people who knew anything would have volunteered and would have dealt with these issues. Be that as it may, at this point, we are being told that Honorable Yasafo Mafo and others have indicated their preparedness to volunteer information. I don't know how the police authorities do their work, but I want to believe that they will act in accordance with their mandate given them by law, and will do what they do usually. There's also, I think Kweku speaks about a number of conspiracy theories.
Also need speculating.
Oh, speculating then. Maybe this is too big a platform for such speculations and conspiracy theories to have been put here. But one thing is clear in all of this, Matilda. President Mills has shown in no uncertain terms that regardless of who is involved, this matter will be looked at as a non-partisan issue. And I think for me that is important. That the authorities will get to the bottom of it. The public, every effort will be made by the president to protect the public purse, which is what measures he has taken subsequent to the release of the report by the EOCO. That, again, I think is dramatically different from how previously we've seen our president handle, matters of this nature. I think that the president has shown in no uncertain terms, is an opportunity, is this matter, severe as it is, or monumental, or is it, let me use the now abused word, gargantuan as it is, it's become a test case for the president, and the president has manifested clearly, his incorruptible nature, his belief in openness and transparency and accountability, that his integrity, will not be sacrificed because of this matter, and that for me is remarkable. If the president is not behaving like we were told in the past about, if I make moves over such matters, my administration is likely to collapse and all of that. So president...
Where is this coming from?
Oh, Kweku, allow me. You say you want to speak when I finish, so you when I'm done. I see you taking a lot of notes.
You just put some distortion in here.
So I think that the president has shown forthrightness in all of this. I think that for those who have no...
Okay, James, you need to wrap now.
I mean, in all of this, you have seen a very deliberate effort being made by people wanting to chip away the integrity and reputation of a president. But that clearly is not washing, because the president has risen to the occasion, he's acted swiftly, and no effort is being spared in an attempt to get to the bottom of this issue. You have seen the arrest being made, you've seen people brought before the court, you've seen charges being preferred. Of course, you've even heard chief saying that the president should intervene at this point. I do not think that the president can at this point intervene in any such matter. This is a matter pending before the court. I think the proper place for intervention, if any, if the president decided to do so, would be when the matter has run its full, the matter determined, and conviction secured.
It's done. Okay, thank you, James. I'll give Koku 2 minutes to make his point.
The Yoko report talks of 25.
What page is that? Page 7.
It says, consequently, whatever invoked the dispute settlement clause in its agreement of April 26, 2006, and called for mediation. The mediator agreed upon between the government and whatever was Mr. Kowawano, and the claim presented by whatever was for the following. I can't go through it, but what's significant was that there was one relief breach of contract, which doesn't make sense to me. But let's go on. Then the last paragraph says, eventually, however, the parties agreed that whatever will be paid an amount of 25 million euro in full and final settlement of all its claims against government in the matter of the termination of the Stadia contracts. This figure was converted into Ghana cedis and finally settled / paid in 2011. So under this administration, they're telling us today that that contract did not have parliamentary approval, meaning it was an illegality. With the benefit of hindsight, mistake, assuming without admitting, committed by your predecessor, who had fettered, according to you, 11 million, okay? You come with your eyes fully open, both eyes. You pay 25 million euro on a contract you consider illegal and non-existent. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't gel. But please.
You have 1 more minute.
Wait, yes.
I'm not going to interrupt.
The judgment debts, it's not all those debts that were procured by a court order. We should get that clear. Many of them were through settlement negotiations between the parties, without even it reaching the courts. Look, this CP case that is coming, Ghanaians will be shocked at the real details as to how come we decided now to pay 49 or 48.
That's before the public account.
Yes, we'll be shocked. That will give an indication of the point I'm making, that sometimes the so-called out-of-court settlement or settlement negotiations are dangerous. They are minefields. My final one, please. This is when government was cancelling the contracts between Ghana government and Waterville. See, date is 1st August 2006. It says, as you recall, the 2 contracts referred to above were signed on 26 April 2006. It was understood by reference to clause 17 that the signing of the contracts did not bring them into effect. Clause 17 of the contract states as follows: signing of all, it says the contract shall become effective at the date of the fulfillment of all the following conditions. One of which was this: rendering of a legal opinion by the Ministry of Finance and approval of the contract by Cabinet and Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. By the time government decided to cancel this, Waterville, yes, so the government has recognized that. But Waterville had failed to do a primary thing, which was raise funds. So government said, let me finish, please. Yes, having regard to the undeniable fact that time is of essence, government of Ghana finds that it has no option but to raise the funding itself. Since you are unable to satisfy the fundamental condition that influenced the government of Ghana's decision being engineering the funding, Cabinet cannot approve the contract, and therefore the contract cannot become effective. Waterville wrote to accept this cancellation. And the documents are here. How come they come back 2009 and raise an issue of breach of contract? And as the Yoko said, in the AG's office, all these documents were available. So on what basis do we negotiate with Waterville? One of the reliefs being breach of contract, when they had written twice.
Okay, your point
to accept that the contract should be breached.
Okay.
Look, it's a dangerous game.
Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into our third subject.
This is a dangerous game.
You another minute, or maybe 2 minutes, because you haven't spoken in a while. I'll give James a last minute comment, and then I'll do text messages, because we're out of time.
Tilly, I thought we would have
made some space. Unfortunately.
That issue is a timeless issue. We'll come back.
Well, okay, I hope.
That issue cannot die.
The thing about Nana Akufo-Addo's comments about paralysis of leadership.
Make it number 1.
We have to put it to death by the close of day, because it doesn't really deserve the...
Did he speak from Obama's breakfast table?
No,
it was
Texas
town hall meeting.
Okay.
Right. I think I still want to stick with my earlier submission that in all of this, yes, the media has a role to play, but it looks like our media, especially from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and sometime later in the afternoon, is being choked with a lot of, panel discussions on this matter. And that's what I'm talking about.
Maybe that's because it's of great national interest.
Nobody is
and maybe they can also that. That they cannot necessarily leave only to the institutions of state to handle.
Yeah, no, Kweku said something earlier on that the judge does not necessarily, should not necessarily pay attention to whatever is being, or be influenced by whatever we say. But you see,
that's what it's supposed to be.
In terms of judgment,
I agree.
Delivering
but
judgment.
You see, if the mindset of the people is going a certain direction, he cannot do otherwise. These things, certainly, of course, that's what you will say. But these things happen. Like I was earlier on cited, this Amina issue, where did it take us? Okay, so for me, let's discuss the issues, but let's not be judgmental, as if the whole thing, from the perspective we see it, that is where it should end. The man has a lawyer, or has lawyers, who can also look through the same documents and use some technicalities to exonerate himself. So let's allow that system to operate. Otherwise, tomorrow it could be you, and you expect a different approach, which you may not get.
Thank you, James. You have a final comment?
Well, for me, I think that, there's a presumption by the court that government is a continuing business. So that if anybody under the MPP tied the hands of that administration, and today we find ourselves in this situation, it's early days yet. It does not preclude those people themselves from being held accountable. And
once you make it, I'll just ask you about ultimate responsibility. We've seen Asimenu arrested. We've seen Tete Nikwe arrested. What about Nekwe Tete? What about the ultimate head? Betty Mold was the ultimate. Kobna Dufo was the ultimate.
I think that, again, it's early days yet. This is a matter that has not closed. You notice that the EOC report itself is an interim one. You notice that certain persons are before the courts. You notice that the police CID is on this beat. The matter
they might be made witnesses.
Well, maybe you are going ahead of time. I think on a matter like this, we should only take the wait and see.
All right, that's how we end.
But I heard that in the grapevine.